You're a French Canadian in your home in an area called Acadia. The British have just taken control of the land, and now you're forced with two options. 1. Swear your unending love and devotion to the British Crown, or 2. Lose your home and community forever. Today, we are going to be talking about the expulsion of the Acadians. Welcome to the Darchives, where we tell serious history not so seriously. I'm Jamie talking to Leo.
And I'm Leo listening to Jamie.
And today we're talking about the expulsion of the Acadians.
What the heck are Acadians?
Acadia was a region in Canada that experienced a forced mass migration of all the French people who were living there.
So is this after it's already been colonized a little bit, but now the British are pushing the French colonizers out?
Yes, this is colonizer on colonizer crime.
Okay.
So I am going to start with a bit of backstory, a little historical backstory here. The first Europeans to make landfall in modern-day Canada, North America, were the Vikings around the year 1000, but they were only the first to try and fail settling this land.
Curious to me that Vikings couldn't settle this land. They were farmers throughout history.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they just didn't want to. I'm going to be honest, I didn't look into the history of the Vikings in this land, but we know that they did not stay.
Couldn't pillage, I guess, because there was nothing really here. They wanted riches.
And God bless them for it, you know?
Why settle new land when you can take it from England?
Mm-hmm. Time and time again. Why do anything new when you can just fight the British?
Yeah, it's got to be hard being the baddest empire around for the longest amount of time.
Well, speaking of the British, in 1497, a British explorer named John Cabot landed in Nova Scotia and claimed the land for England. Again, nothing really came of this. So in 1524, an Italian man named Giovanni de Verrazzano.
I'm sorry, say that again.
Yep. Giovanni de Verrazzano.
De Verrazzano?
Got say it with enthusiasm, huh? Gotta say that with my whole chest.
I don't know. I'm from the East Coast. I'm not reading it. Let me read it. Hold on. Verrazzano.
Thank you. That is why we have two hosts. Well, what did he do? You read it to me.
I've never looked at Jamie's bullet points before. In 1524, Italian man Giovanni de Verrazzano sailed the East Coast. That's what he did. And a decade later, Frenchman Jacques Cartier made it to Montreal and claimed it for the French. I am obviously reading because I know nothing about this story. Handing it back to Jamie.
I'm going to go back to 1524, Giovanni.
Okay.
He sailed up and down like the eastern seaboard of both Canada and the United States. But as with everything else I've said, nothing really came of this. They were just kind of charting the land, mapping it out a bit. And a decade later, a Frenchman named Jacques Cartier made it to Montreal, and he claimed this land for the French. He met with members of the Iroquois Native Americans who led him to their settlement called Canada, which is actually where we get the name Canada.
Or Canada, for my fellow illiterate Americans.
Okay, well, they need representation too. Thank you.
We whooped you in the Olympics this year. I'm sorry, what?
We did what?
I said we whooped them in the Olympics this year.
Men and women.
We did. Even though Canada, you got all the better players. We just had the best goalie this year.
On paper, Canada should have won.
Yeah.
Girl power.
Hellebuck is the reason the men took it.
He looks like a dark elf.
And he's a beautiful goalie. We're talking about ice hockey. Do we even say that? Are we just assuming everyone knows we're talking about ice hockey?
Oh, yeah, you're right. We're talking about hockey.
Olympic level hockey.
I fucking love hockey, boys.
Love hockey.
All right, well, back to Canada pre-ice hockey. Settlements tried and failed in this area for the next 100 years or so, but now I take us to 1621. Britain, still having some claim over this land, gave it to the Scottish, and they are the ones who named it Nova Scotia, which is actually Latin for New Scotland.
I didn't know that.
I learned a lot about Canada's naming history in this episode. Forgive my American ignorance, but these are things that we were not taught. So this was very fun to learn.
Yeah, Nova Scotia, New Scotland.
Yeah.
That's cool.
1632, though, a peace treaty gives France the area, and now French colonists begin to come over and settle in. They prospered in this area.
So they were just doing good from a settler standpoint.
Yeah, from a settler standpoint, they did really good. They were able to set up, whole communities, and they had a rich and vibrant culture. Everything was going really well for them. 300 French immigrants arrived, and by the early 1750s, the population of French people was around 13,000.
Good amount of French.
This was thanks to a high birth rate and low infant mortality rates.
French be keeping the babies alive.
Mm-hmm. So like I said, they really were doing quite well.
For the 1600s, that is pretty good.
Mm-hmm. 16s into like the early 1700s, they were thriving. Everything was going really well until 1713. England, as they are wont to do, came in and stomped their big colonizing boot all over the area and on the Acadians themselves. In 1713, the Treaty of Utrecht was signed, and this was actually a way to end the War of the Spanish Succession.
We've talked about this before.
Exactly, yes, I'm glad you remembered.
Utrecht stopped everyone from getting wrecked.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
So, quick refresher, or a quick sidebar if you have not listened to our San Jose shipwreck episode. The War of the Spanish Succession was a battle for power over the Spanish throne that was mainly fought between Spain and France. In the end, a Frenchman did get the throne, but had to relinquish his French claims, and somehow through this, Great Britain made out like a bandit in this treaty. France was forced to relinquish land territories in Newfoundland, Nova Scotia, and Spain relinquished Gibraltar and Majorca. All of these went to Great Britain. Now, for our story, the key point of this was that England now has control over Nova Scotia, where the thousands of French people were residing.
Tens of thousands at this point.
Yeah, we're over 10,000 French. There were a lot of people that were affected by this power change. Obviously, with France and England's great history of hating each other, the French people of Canada were not thrilled by this. And the Acadians refused to accept that Britain was daddy now.
Makes sense. They've been established there for quite a while.
Yeah, and we've been living under France, and now England, our mortal sworn enemy throughout all time, is telling us that they're in charge of us now. Tensions are building all across the area between the British and the French, and power over the land keeps switching back and forth. Can't really establish who's in charge. Now, while France and Britain are swinging their dicks all around Canada, they were building forts and towns, but there's also tension building along the east coast of modern-day USA.
You don't say. In the 1700s?
Yeah. In North America, there was a lot going on. The 7 Years' War was waging on a global level, and this was between the French and the British, of course. But what concerns our story was the French and Indian War.
This is kind of fun because this is linking a couple episodes that we've done together.
Yeah.
It's got the burning of DC.
Mm-hmm.
It's around the same time frame of
San Jose,
the shipwreck. All these political movements are all happening around the same time and linking together.
Yeah, we're within 100 years of 3 different stories right now. North America was popping off at this time. And Spain and France and England. Well, it's always been those global powers,
Superpowers back in the day were making moves. They were being created and making big moves.
Mm-hmm. The French and Indian War came to an end with a British victory, which officially gave Britain all the French-owned land. The Acadians, being French strong, independent people, refused to swear their undying allegiance to the British, and so a solution to this problem needed to be figured out. British Governor Charles Lawrence came up with a plan that would be the solution to this, quote, Acadian problem, and this solution would become known as Le Grand Derangement, or in English, the Great Deportation.
I'm just putting this in modern day context right now. Could you imagine if any other country came over and was all like, oh yeah, we own the west side of America now. And all of us that live here as Americans are like,
fuck you.
The fuck you are. And they're like, okay, well, I guess we got to deal with this. Let's just deport all the Americans in America right now.
Yeah, not too hard to see how this could be a big problem in a big way. Starting in 1755, more than 11,000 Acadians were forcibly removed from their homes and sent all across the world to places like the continental colonies along the eastern seaboard of...
Seabirds?
Seaboard.
Eastern seaboard?
The eastern seaboard, yes, of the U.S., England, France, and even some French territory.
What's going on with your mouth tonight?
My lip is bleeding, and I feel like
Just eat a brick of Novocaine?
I think so. I bit my lip, and now it feels funny. Okay. And even some French territories in the Caribbean as well. While some people were able to remain, the vast majority of the population was sent away.
Get the heck out.
It is so scary to me to think that people who were born and raised in Canada, in this area, could just be picked up and shipped to an entirely different continent, to an entirely different way of living for no reason other than the new political power says you can't be here anymore. I'm thinking of a 15-year-old French Canadian who all of a sudden is shipped to the Caribbean. How scary that must be for them. It is just such a culture shock, and I feel so deeply for these people that are just completely uprooted and forced to move halfway across the world.
Yeah. You can't be here. Whatever you've built for yourself doesn't matter. Get out.
Yeah, it's fucking heartbreaking and sickening. Just in the second half of 1755 alone, more than 6,000 people were deported. That is almost half of their population was forced out.
Yep.
About 1,100 Acadians were sent to Virginia, and they were denied entry. The territory of Virginia refused them entry, so then they were sent to England, where they were kept as prisoners of war. Leo's just shaking his head.
I'm just like, England, you gave this land to them. England gave it to Scotland. Scotland gave it to France with a peace treaty. And then England said, you know what?
Mine.
Yeah, forget that. That shit we gave you, Scotland, that you signed a peace treaty with, we're taking it back now.
Yeah, that's ours again. And now they're kicking all the French out.
Yeah, and the ones that got nowhere to go are now POWs.
Sent to England as POWs.
Daddy Britain, you be savage. All throughout history, you be savage.
I know. I feel like we're constantly talking about how the British were involved in these stories, but
one of the biggest empires in history. They got a lot of dark shit with them, you know? Everybody's got baggage, but I mean, they've been around so damn long. It's,
yeah.
You know?
No country is always good, though, you know? Now, the Acadians who remained in the area were seen as either fugitives of the law or were kept as captives. The estimated 2,000 Acadians who tried to flee had either been captured and held as prisoners in various military forts, and an estimated 2,000 to 3,000 resettled in Quebec.
Oh, Quebec.
And we know modern-day Quebec has quite the French population.
It sure do.
In 1763, peace was restored, and the Acadians were free to settle or live anywhere they wanted, but it was too late. Their communities had been destroyed, and with that, the relationship communities as well. The land where they had once prospered had now been taken over by settlers from New England. The people who were imprisoned or banished did not want to return to France or live
in the disrupted communities.
Yes, they didn't want to live there anymore, so they set off for new French lands, just other places owned by France at the time. Some people, they'd
go to Louisiana.
Well, yeah, they did.
Did they?
Yeah, they did. And we're gonna talk about it.
Oh shit, is that why we have so many Cajuns down there?
Oh my god, let me get there. Let me get there.
That's why we got the Creole, the French Creole.
Stop, you're spoiling.
can't believe I never put that together, that it was purchased from France, and that's why we have all that. Wow, I am slow on the uptick. Okay, continue.
Okay. Some of the Acadians opted to stay in Canada in places like New Brunswick, Cape Breton Island, Western Nova Scotia, and Prince Edward Island. Now, the people who were sent to the eastern seaboard of the U.S. didn't like the area. They were sent to like completely rural areas. They were getting new diseases. There wasn't a lot of food. Like, it was really shitty, and they were dying. So they traveled west. At the time, Louisiana was under French control, so a few thousand decided to set up home there. Okay, so I do have a little sidebar that doesn't have anything to do necessarily with the expulsion of the Acadians, but it does have to do with the French population in Louisiana. In 1719, France was really trying to get people to go to Louisiana, at the time part of their territory, and people just weren't fighting. Like, people did not want to go. They were only getting like a few hundred here and there. So France decided to come up with a brilliant idea. And this was the 1719 policy, which gave prisoners in Paris their freedom if they would agree to marry a prostitute and move to Louisiana from France.
So is Louisiana just kind of like France's Australia?
Kind of.
England threw all their prisoners over into Australia. France threw all their prisoners and ladies of the night.
Working women,
into Louisiana.
Yeah, but they got their freedom. You're not in jail anymore. And the hardworking women, you have a new place to go. Maybe you'll have better luck there. So that's how France decided to populate Louisiana.
I gotta say, the prostitutes got the raw end of that deal. Because it doesn't sound like they got any money to get started, right? So prisoners got freedom, which is awesome. Yay, I get my freedom. But a prostitute is all like, yo, I gotta marry this random guy. I'm making money. I'm doing my thing out here. What's wrong? I gotta marry some prisoner and then move halfway across the world?
Yeah. And the ones who went willingly were offered land and provision.
Oh, they were offered land.
Just because they were offered did not mean that they got.
Okay.
When they got there, they didn't have a lot of provisions. And yeah, you have land, but absolutely no shelter. And you gotta figure, we're dealing with prisoners and...
Leave it to a criminal to complain about free land.
I mean, from what I read, a lot of the people who got there just got sick and died. You sent them there with nothing. Possibly not even the skills needed to survive. You're going to a foreign land with new diseases, and they would just get sick and die.
Do you imagine being like the third or fourth round of people to get like a plot of land? They just keep throwing the same, like making the same deal and throwing them on the same land.
Yeah, because
they just see like a dead body somewhere and they're like, what the fuck, bro?
No, what is this? What did you send me to? By 1767, though, most of the people who were sent there fled, and they just went to, like, French islands, because Native Americans were also attacking them. And the people who were already there, the colonizers, trying to take land from the natives, this whole episode is just people taking land. Whether it's from natives originally, British from French, but anyway... A lot of the people ended up fleeing. So the whole thing was a overall failure, but I could not believe that when I was reading a little bit more about the French population in Louisiana, that they really tried to get, like, you know, quote unquote, the bad people out of France and just ship them to America.
Yeah, society's less desirables got pushed out there.
Yeah, and by, like, prisoners, I read that it was literally just, like, drunk people. They would raid hospitals to find drunk people and then just put them on a boat. Could you imagine you go out on a bender and when you come out of it, you're on a fucking boat going to the Americas? Fuck you.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. They're getting rid of their, like, quote-unquote shitty citizens, but at the same time, what the fuck? Just throwing people out.
It's, again, I'm being forced into this new land, this new way of life without my permission. Although some did go willingly, I will say. It was not all forced deportation out of France, but even still, God, this whole episode. But back to our Acadian Cajuns. Though the area was eventually switched to Spanish control, they didn't leave after that. They, I already lost one French home to another power. I'm staying here.
Yeah, we've migrated one time. I'm good.
Yeah. Today, as you so eloquently pointed out, we know these French pioneers as the Cajuns, which is actually a mispronunciation of the word Acadians.
Okay. That's a really fouled up mispronunciation.
We had Canada to Canada, a Cajun from Acadian.
Oh my God. They're Acadian. No, they're a Cajun.
Ding, 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 ding.
What?
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
How fun.
Mm-hmm. Against the odds, up in Canada, the Acadian population by 1800 was about 8,000, and by the start of the 1900s, the population was at about 140,000. And that number represents the people claiming Acadian descent. So they came back, brother. They came back. In the 1880s, August 15th was established as National Acadian Day, and they even got an official flag.
What's the flag look like?
Let's see. I actually did not look up what their flag looks like, which, oops, sorry. But let's see.
It's just a French flag.
No.
With an acorn on it or something. It's a French flag with a maple leaf on it.
Oh my gosh.
Is it a French flag with a maple leaf on it?
It's a French flag with a gold star in the blue area.
Should have been a gold maple leaf.
That would have been quite fitting. But they're their own people. Schools were established that kept the French language alive in Canada, and in some parts of the provinces of Canada, a distinct Acadian French dialect known as Chioc is still spoken. In 1969, New Brunswick actually declared itself bilingual because of these efforts. Now, down in America, the Acadians, specifically those in Louisiana, grew and assimilated. The Acadian population kind of separated into three different groups. There was the upper class, the farmer and artisan middle class, and a large, poor working class. The working class integrated customs from local French Creole people and the Anglo-Americans who were already there. Today, that mix is what we know as the Cajuns. After the American Civil War, the South's economy obviously took a hit, and this led to many non-Acadians kind of joining the Cajun community, which made it even larger.
I do have a question. I've always under the assumption that Creole and Cajun were like hand in hand, but it sounds like Creole were French settlers already in the U.S., and then the Cajuns were the Acadians that came down into the U.S. So where did the Creoles come from?
Obviously, I'm not a Creolologist in any way.
Is Creole French?
The Creole was kind of a mix of French, Spanish, and the Caribbean, meaning probably slaves. That's where we get Creole from, and the Cajuns were the Acadians from French Canada.
So Creole is just a mix of...
It's a bit of a melting pot.
Something new.
Yes. And the Cajuns were specifically those exiled from Canada.
Weird that they're separated today, because like I hear Creole and Cajun.
Well,
I think it would all become Creole. That would just be what the area is Creole. But I've heard people in modern day say that they're Cajun.
All Cajuns are Creole, but not all Creole are Cajuns. Yeah, I don't know. We're getting a bit into the weeds on it, but
Sorry I dive bombed that. I'm sorry.
That's okay. No, that's fine. Many people still speak a distinct Cajun French dialect, though the language actually nearly died in the mid-20th century.
So Cajuns became French.
Cajuns were always French.
Oh, Creole's not French.
Yes.
Oh, fucking A. Keep going.
The Cajun population has many distinct qualities in America, and they celebrate things like Mardi Gras and have special culinary dishes like gumbo that are distinct to that part of the country.
Jambalaya.
Yummy.
I've never had.
Oh, it's so good. Took a trip down to New Orleans for a bachelorette party. Whew. I understand I'm not going like rural Louisiana, but ooh, boy, New Orleans. Fucking fun. An article from 2022 says that there was an estimated 500,000 Acadian descendants living in Louisiana, with around 100,000 of them speaking Cajun French in their homes today.
I know the Cajun French has got to be just the most blasphemous French alive, just like New England English is the most blasphemous English alive.
Well, I mean, even the French speakers up in like Montreal and stuff, they get like mocked in France for their French.
Because you know, us over here in North America, French Canadians, that's the only French I really hear ever. When I hear a French Canadian come down for a summer vacation and I hear him speaking French, and there's probably real French people from France that are like, that ain't fucking French, bro. It's probably like England. Hear me say, yeah, I parked my cow over there. You know what I'm talking about? And they're like, no. That's not English. What the fuck is that? Yeah, it's out in the parking lot. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think it's a fun thing of like even hearing different English accents. Look at Scotland. Looking at you, Scottish people talking fucking crazy to the American ear, but it's the same language. But that accent is so different. I do love listening to a Scottish person talk. I think it is so fun to hear the different accents spoken of your own language, a language that you know, but it's like my brain has to like switch channels to understand some accents.
Yeah, some dialects are definitely harder, but even in England, Northerners versus Southerners have completely different accents out there.
In America, put somebody from Boston with somebody down in Texas.
Or from California.
Or, yeah, me. Put enough alcohol in me and all of a sudden my Valley girl slips out like none other. I start talking like a whole new person. It's very fun to me. All the different dialects and accents of the same language. But yeah, I have heard that the French are very snooty about like Canadians speaking French around them. Grow up. It's the same language. That is the tale of the expulsion of the Acadians.
People who were given land, settled, thrived, kicked out, and created a whole new culture.
Woo! Resilient. Well, guys, hope you learned something new today.
I know I did. That was cool.
I liked learning where we got a lot of our words from. That one was fun to me. You guys can follow us on our socials or send us an email, both of which are linked below in the show description.
You can also rate the show, like, subscribe, do all the jazz on whatever platform you're on, because we're pretty much anywhere you can listen.
Yeah, leave a comment, send an email, slide into our Insta DMs. Love to hear from you guys. And with that, we will see you next week for another episode of The Darchives.
See you guys next week.
Ciao. Ciao is French.
Isn't au revoir French?
Oh my god, it is. Ciao is Italian. Au revoir. I don't know French.